So we built the global economy in the post-war period with the United States in the lead and the advanced countries agreeing that we had to get everybody back up to, restored from the damage of the war quickly, and that worked really well. I mean, that's had a legacy of untold benefits for everybody, including the developing countries, and now we really don't have a sure-footed leadership on that front. Longer term, the emerging economies are going to have to play a very big role. I mean, if India and China are going to be in 30 years the biggest economies in the world, then we're going to depend on them to provide the leadership in managing the global economy in an inclusive way. And in China, there's an interesting tension. I mean, this is a country with a per capita income somewhere between $4,500 and $5,000. And there's never been a country that is systemically important ever in the history of that we've been keeping track of that started to have global responsibilities while they were still at that stage of development. And China understands this. They understand, the leaders understand that they're being asked to shoulder responsibilities way earlier than they would ideally like. And a subset of people in Beijing say, well, no, we'll just focus on the domestic growth and development agenda. It's complicated enough. And the wiser leaders and the outside is saying, that would be nice if you could do that, but it's actually not in your interest. You're big enough now that in multiple dimensions you can destabilize the global economy by stumbling around, by mismanaging the $3.4 trillion of reserves, just in hundreds of different ways. And so I think that's understood, and China will, do this balancing act in this transition, and then eventually, I think, have, a major role in the global governance. And in the course of this, of course, we'll have to reform the governance structures of the international institutions, the existing ones like the World Bank and the IMF, maybe the UN. I mean, the UN tends to get caught up in its own democracy. And maybe we'll have new institutions as well that we need that we haven't thought of yet. But that, I think, is in the future. I view that, by the way, as a generation's work. This is not something you do next year. Building these institutions, building the trust, building the ability to interact constructively is just a very long-term project.